I like you. What now? It wasn't working, so I brought a light bulb Friday morning. Wednesday. If I have to. Don't leave before I talk about today. Let's take it from the top. Let's take it from the top.
You haven't started here.
We're going to sit at a distance from the city.
That's not
What do you have to say, or do you just meow?
Meow.
And do that because that's what cats do. You have to do that.
Yeah.
You have to do that. You have to act like it's. That sounds like
I'm not sure if what I'm supposed to be walking or supposed to be standing.
yes, yes.
Welcome and good morning.
Good morning.
It's December 7th, a date that Franklin Roosevelt, for certain reasons, 4 years ago, said would live in infamy. But so do a lot of other days. They live in infamy and grace, depending on the year and the trends of the season. This is also the second Sunday of Advent, in effect, the Christmas season. Come, whoever you are, holding various beliefs, whatever your skin color or national origin, whatever your age or gender identity, whatever your abilities, whomever you love. You are welcome at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Statesboro. You are welcome in this, our religious home. Have any visitors or guests today? If you'd like, we invite you to take a moment now to introduce yourself or introduce a guest. Aren't you shaking your head? We don't have anything. All right.
Well, and she might not want me to, but Donna brought her daughter
That's
in.
true. That is true.
So
did invite you to share some contact information with us on our guest registry near the front entrance. And we also use this opportunity to mention our website address, which you could share more information there. It's www.uustatesboro.org. And thank you, members and guests, for sharing the resources during our offertory later in our service, or again, you can do that via the website. In the month of December, half of our offering that is not designated as pledge will go to our Ministers Helping Hands Fund. Now I invite you to join with me in reciting our congregational affirmation. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another. Our worship leader this morning is our faithful guest minister, Clint Tawes. Clint.
Good morning. Good morning. We will begin with the lighting of our chalice, symbol of our faith. I will light our chalice and share our chalice reading. Then please rise as you are willing and able, and join us in singing Rise Up, O Flame. This is our chalice of love and light, uniting us all by day and night. Rise up, O flame, my glory, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, my glory, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Now let us honor the light within one another as we greet one another.
I'm like my mom. I like to hide. Okay. Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. Ready? 912. You take it out. Take this.
The opening hymn is number 1018 if you have a teal hymnal, but it's fairly repetitive if you don't. Teal opening, sorry. If you don't have one though, it's a very repetitive song. Come and go with me. Let's come and go with me to that land. There will be freedom. There will be justice. There will be singing. That's it. Come and go with me. Let's try that in the right key. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. And now is the time for our story for all ages. If there are any young people or young at heart who would like to come to the front, you are welcome to come.
We have one cat.
Right. Today's story is titled Four Holes, a story of the Nochi, a story that I wrote about the journey of my people, the ancestors of the Edisto Natchez-Kusso Tribe of South Carolina. While the story is rooted in real history, I used imagination to fill in the spaces where history is quiet. So here goes, Four Holes, the story of the Nochi. And Nochi is the way that we used to say Natchez before the English started saying Natchez. My name is Tawi, a child of the Nochi. Each dawn, I climbed the Putkup, the great mound by the shining river, and greeted Uvzel, the sun. When his light touched my face, I whispered, Akapakwashe, Uvzel, hello, sun. Grandmother said the sun gave life to our people, and that the mound was our way of speaking back. One morning, Grandmother knelt beside me and drew a circle in the soft earth. This, she said, is Uvzel, the great fire in the sky whose light fills the whole universe. Inside the circle, she pressed 4 small holes with her fingertip, and these are the 4 sacred fires burning in our temple. They remind us that the sun's light lives not only above us, but also within creation and within us. She touched my chest. Never forget, Tawi, the same light that warms the world shines in your heart. Then came the men with floating houses and thunder sticks. They paddled up the river in long canoes, their clothes bright with strange colors. They called themselves French and said they had crossed the great waters to find new friends. At first we watched up from the trees, unsure, but the French smiled and offered beads that shone like little suns, and cloth dyed in colors we had never seen. In return, we gave them corn from our fields and skins from the deer and bear who shared our land. For a time it seemed we lived in balance. The French asked to build another house near the river, then another, and another still. They said they wished only to trade and live in peace. But grandmother watched them closely. The river is wide, she said, yet they find no space but ours. Still, we hope for friendship. We hope the sun would see our kindness and keep our fires safe. But soon the French wanted more. They built new houses on our land and said the earth belonged to them now. One day, their leader demanded that our people give up an entire village so he could plant his own fields. Grandmother's voice grew tight. Friends, do not take the ground where your ancestors sleep. The French soldiers grew angry. They carried thundersticks that split the air like storms. They built forts by the river, their walls rising high over our fields, and we knew their promises were thin. Soon there were fights. Some of our people were taken, others did not return. The fires in our temple still burned bright, but shadows gathered all around us. Then the great sun spoke. We must flee east, where the dawn rises. So we left the mound behind, carrying only our memories, our courage, and the light of Ubso. Just before we left, grandmother stood at the doorway of the temple and looked at the sacred fires one last time. Her eyes glowed in the light of the flames. The sun will watch over us, she whispered, and its light will walk with us. She took my hand. We cannot take the temple fires with us, Paui. We carry their light here. She touched her heart and then mine. We walked for many moons through cane and forest, across rivers and hills. Sometimes Chickasaw friends helped us find the way. At night, when the world was dark, I looked up at the glowing Quasipa, the moon. Grandmother, I whispered, the sun is gone. She drew the symbol in the dirt, a circle for the sun, 4 small holes for the sacred fires. The sun is never gone, she said. Quasipa shines with the sun's light. Even in the night, its fire still reaches us. I looked up and whispered softly, Akapakwashi, Quasipa, and then the moon seemed to smile back. One day, the clouds covered the sky. I could not see Ubso. My heart felt heavy. Then, after the rain, a pupalu, a rainbow, stretched across the clouds. Grandmother drew the symbol again. This circle is Ubso, she said, and these holes are the fires. But today, see how the sun's light paints the sky in many colors? It teaches us that light can change, form, yet still shine strong. I touched the rainbow with my eyes and whispered softly, Akapakwashi, Pupalu, and the rainbow shimmered in reply. That night, fireflies rose from the reeds, their sparks glowing like tiny flames. I gasped, Grandmother, the fires. She drew the symbol once more. The sun's light lives in all things, she said. Even the smallest creatures carry its fire. I whispered, Ashikakwashe, Ubso, good evening, sun. And the fireflies danced like stars around us. At last, we reached a place of tall houses and noisy streets, Charleston. People stared at us as we entered the governor's yard. Our chief, whom the English called the king of the Nochi, spoke with Governor Johnson. He asked for land where we could plant corn and rebuild our lives. The governor smiled and said, we will find you a place. They gave us land beside a quiet stretch of earth. Good corn land, they said. Grandmother stepped onto the new ground and knelt slowly. In the soft dirt, she drew the sacred symbol once more. I looked at the 4 holes in the dirt. Grandmother, I said, we should call this place 4 Holes. So our children and their children after them will remember the sacred fires and the sun that still watches over us. Grandmother smiled. Yes, Tawi, the name is yours to give. The Kusso tribe lived close by. At first we stayed apart, but our children played together. In time we shared corn and stories. Some of our people married their people. Grandmother said, when roots grow together, the trees are harder to fell. Life was not always easy. Some years brought floods, others brought quarrels with distant tribes. Our chiefs traveled often to Charleston to keep peace. But through it all, Grandmother kept our teachings alive. Balance, she said, is not the same as stillness. It means standing strong through change. One morning as the sun rose, Grandmother placed her hand on my shoulder. You are growing, Tawi, she said. The fires of our homeland shine through you now. She touched my heart. The light we carried did not live in the temple. It lives in you. I whispered, Akapakwashi, Ubso. Good morning, son. Now when I stand by the river at our new home called 4 Holes, I greet Ubso just as I did on the mound. The land is different, but the sun is the same. Our people are smaller, our village quiet, but our hearts still carry the light. the fire of the Nochi still burns. The story is inspired by the history of the ancestors of the Edisto Natchez-Kusso tribe, who currently live in the Creeltown and the Four Holes Indian community, which we don't know how it got its name, but my theory, which is as good as anyone else's theory, is that it came from the symbol of the Natchez, which was the four holes surrounded by the sun. That is my theory, and I said it's as good as any other. And that is your story. Please join me in our children's affirmation. We are Unitarian Universalists, people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. Now we will sing our children out. More of our heads stand out, so someone will start the song.
Beneath our arms, we shelter you. You warm our hearts as you pass through. May our love guide you as you grow, to help you learn and help you grow.
Please join me in a time of meditation and reflection. Today's reading is Joseph Campbell's poetic version of words often attributed to Chief Seattle. Though not a historical transcript, it carries the spirit of indigenous reverence for the earth. The reading will be followed by a brief guided meditation and then a time of silence. The president in Washington sends word that he wishes to buy our land. But how can you buy or sell the sky, the land? The idea is strange to us. If we do not own the freshness of the air and the sparkle of the water, how can you buy them? Every part of this earth is sacred to my people. Every shining pine needle, every sandy shore, every mist in the dark woods, every meadow, every humming insect, all are holy in the memory and experience of my people. We know the sap that courses through the tree as we know the blood that courses through our veins. We are part of the earth, and it is part of us. Perfumed flowers are our sisters. The bear, the deer, the great eagle, these are our brothers. The rocky crest, the juices in the meadow, the body heat of the pony and man all belong to the same family. The shining water that moves in the streams and rivers is not just water, but the blood of our ancestors. If we sell you the land, you must remember that it is sacred. Each ghostly reflection in the clear water of the lake tells of events and memories in the life of my people. The water murmurs with the voice of my father's father. The rivers are our brothers. They quench our thirst, they carry our canoes, and feed our children. So you must give to the rivers the kindness you would give to any brother. If we sell you our land, remember that the air is precious to us, that the air shares its spirit with all the life that it supports. The wind that gave our grandfather his first breath also receives his last sigh. The wind also gives our children the spirit of life. So if we sell you our land, we must keep it apart and sacred. You must keep it apart and sacred as a place where man can go to taste the wind and is sweetened by the meadow flowers. Will you teach your children what we have taught our children? That the earth is our mother. What befalls the earth befalls all the sons of the earth. This we know, that the earth does not belong to man. Man belongs to earth. All things are connected like the blood that unites us all. Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. One thing we know, our God is also your God. The earth is precious to him, and to harm the earth is to heap contempt on its creator. I invite you now to find a comfortable posture. Let your feet rest firmly on the floor, your hands easy in your lap or wherever is most comfortable. Take a slow, full breath in and release it gently. Again, in and out. As you breathe, imagine the ground beneath you, the same earth that holds the hills, the rivers, the forest. Feel its steady strength rising to meet you. Know that you are supported. With each breath, let your body soften and your mind grow quiet. Listen. There is wisdom in the stillness. There is memory in the soil. There is divine life pulsing through everything that is. If a thought arises, let it drift by like a cloud over the horizon. Just return to your breath, to this sacred moment, to this shared earth, to the quiet voice that whispers beneath all things. May we listen well. May we find our grounding in what endures, and may we hear, even in silence, the hills speaking within us. Please join me in a few moments of silent meditation and reflection. I invite you to remain in a spirit of meditation as we listen to Amazing Grace, performed on the native flute by Charles Littleleaf, an old citizen of the Warm Springs Indian Reservation in Oregon. listening to the hills. My sermon today begins with a story, one that began long before any of us were born. Before churches, before maps, before borders, it begins with the land itself. Prior to the arrival of Europeans, the Nochi, or Natchez people, lived in a flourishing civilization along the lower Mississippi River. Our world moved in rhythm with the sun. Each morning's light was more than illumination, it was revelation. Despite the mistaken claims of some historians, the Natchez people did not worship the sun itself. We honored what it symbolized, the great source of life beyond the earth, the unseen power that makes all things grow and move. In the center of each Natchez village stood a sacred fire, 4 flames that burned perpetually, to represent the divine presence dwelling within creation, within the people, within the plants and animals, within the breath of life itself. The fire was tended day and night, a living reminder that divinity was not only above us, but among us, flickering in every living being. The mounds rose from this understanding of the world. They were not mere structures, they were prayers shaped in clay. Temple mounds, platform mounds, burial mounds, each one built basket by basket, layer by layer, until the land itself reached toward the sky. Atop the highest stood the home of the great sun, our leader, and beside it the temple mound where the sacred flame burned. From those heights the people saw themselves in balance with the cosmos. Earth and sky, human and divine, held together in one living rhythm. To stand upon those mounds at sunrise was to feel the warmth of the Creator's breath, and to know that life was sacred, cyclical, and deeply connected. But harmony never shelters us from history. In the late 17th century, the French came gliding up the Mississippi, carried by the restless tide of empire. At first, there was trade, gifts exchanged, cautious peace maintained, but the balance was fragile. The French sought land, labor, and conversion. The Natchez sought respect and reciprocity. Misunderstanding grew into hostility. In 1729, the fragile peace shattered, and the French retaliated with overwhelming force. For the Natchez, the defeat was more than political, it was spiritual. To be driven from the sacred mounds was to be torn from the very heart of creation. The people scattered. Some were enslaved and sold to the Caribbean, others fled westward and south. A smaller number traveled east seeking refuge. Among those who fled were my ancestors. They found sanctuary in South Carolina among the people of the Kusso, who welcomed them and over generations became family. Through intermarriage and shared survival, the two peoples became one, the Edisto Natchez-Kusso Tribe of South Carolina. For centuries, our story was carried not in books, but in memory, in names, in ceremony, in the quiet knowing that we were a people who had once built our lives upon sacred hills. Recently, members of our tribal council made a journey that was 300 years in the making. We returned to our ancestral homeland in Mississippi. For the first time since the Natchez people fled, descendants of those who survived and resettled in South Carolina returned to the great mounds our ancestors built. I left for Mississippi just after my Thursday night Buddhism class. During our meditation practice, I promised myself that on this journey I would lay my worries down. No classroom concerns, no deadlines, no distractions, so that I could be fully present for whatever waited there. When we arrived at Emerald Mound, I stepped away from the group and found a quiet place to stand alone. I began to breathe, slowly, deliberately, just as I practiced in meditation. I felt the air fill my lungs, and I whispered to myself with each breath, I am standing where my ancestors stood. I am walking upon sacred ground. In that stillness, a scripture rose up in me, one I hadn't planned to think about at all. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills, from whence comes my help. My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. Suddenly, I understood it differently, instantly. You see, there's an apparent contradiction in that verse. The psalmist first says his help comes from the hills. Then he says his help comes from the Lord. Is it the hills, or is it the Lord? Standing on that sacred ground, I suddenly saw no contradiction at all. The hills and the Lord don't have to be two separate sources of help. They can be one and the same. The psalmist's help did not come from something hovering far above the clouds, but from the divine presence pulsing through creation itself, from the solid, steadfast hills rising before him. I can almost see him traveling down the dusty road to Jerusalem, the sun burning on his back, his feet aching. He lifts his eyes, sees those hills, ancient, unshaken, still standing, and something inside him whispers, "Look to the hills. There is your help." Across time and continents, countless people have lifted their eyes to the hills and found in them the presence of something greater. The Eastern Cherokee remember this in the story behind the title of their long-running drama, Unto These Hills. When soldiers came to drive them from their homeland on what history calls the Trail of Tears, some were forced onto that road of sorrow, but others fled into the mountains. The hills hid them, held them, saved them. The psalmist found strength in his hills. The Cherokee found refuge in theirs. And I carried that truth with me when I journeyed to the hills of my own ancestors, the great Natchez Mounds. I wasn't searching for history. I was searching for home. Standing there, breathing in that ancient air, I began to understand what it means to listen to the hills. To listen to the hills is to recognize that the earth is speaking, not in words, but in endurance. The hills remember everything. They teach us that nothing stays the same, and that even loss has its own kind of continuation. And that brings us to the next truth the hills whisper to me, the truth of impermanence. When I stood before the mounds, I thought I was standing on something ancient and unchanging, something solid enough to anchor a people's memory. But the longer I stood there, the more I saw movement everywhere. The grass bowed and rose again in the wind. The river shifted at its banks as it has for centuries, carving and erasing, shaping and reshaping. In the mound, even the mounds themselves are not still. They're softening at the edges, sinking slowly back into the earth, their sacred geometry blurring into the gentle roll of the land. What I took to be stillness was, in truth, the slow dance of time. In Mahayana Buddhism, especially in the Zen tradition, there's a teaching called anicca, impermanence. It names the reality that everything that arises will pass away, that nothing, no joy, no sorrow, no life remains unchanged. Impermanence is not a tragedy, but a doorway, a way of awakening to the preciousness of this present moment. To see this truth clearly is to live with an open heart, knowing that every moment carries its own brief and sacred luminosity simply because it will not last. Impermanence doesn't mean nothing matters. It means everything matters more. Because it is fleeting, it is sacred. The sunrise, the laughter of a child, the quiet conversation with someone we love. These are holy precisely because they can never be repeated in exactly the same way. They come, they shine, they pass, and we are changed by their passing. The Vietnamese Zen teacher Thich Nhat Hanh puts it this way: when we know the person we love is impermanent, we'll cherish our beloved all the more. When we practice mindfulness of impermanence, we become more present and more loving. Impermanence teaches us to respect and value every moment and all the precious things around and inside us. The mounds themselves are living symbols of that truth. Once sacred temples crowned with fire, they are now silent earthworks clothed in grass. Their meaning has not been lost. It has been transformed. They no longer hold the flames of the temple, but they hold memory. And perhaps that is another kind of light. I went there thinking I would find something unchanging, a solid piece of history I could hold on to. What I found was motion, the land shifting, the wind eroding, time remaking what we once were. And as I stood there, I thought of another lesson in impermanence, one that came years earlier when my ex-father-in-law passed away suddenly at age 62. I remember the grief of losing him, and the ache that my daughter, who was still less than a year old, would never know her grandfather. But what haunted me most wasn't just his absence. It was the silence that followed. He was a piano player, not a professional, but one of those people who could make a room come to life. He played church music, but in a style that sounded like the piano player in an old saloon who wandered into a Sunday service and decided to stay. It was joyful, lively, and utterly his own. After he died, I kept thinking no one will ever hear that sound again. That particular rhythm, that touch, that combination of playful and sacred, it was gone. Impermanence doesn't mean what he did no longer matters. It means it matters all the more, because it was a moment in time that can never be repeated. It reminds us to listen closely while the music is still being played, to love people while they're still here, to savor the fragile holiness of this moment, because it will never sound exactly the same again. And then I thought of my mother, and how Alzheimer's is slowly taking her from us, one memory, one familiar phrase at a time. The teaching of impermanence doesn't erase that grief. It invites us to sit with it, to see it in the same rhythm that moves through the mounds, the river, the wind. It reminds us that love and loss are not opposites. They are companions, rising and falling together in the great pattern of being alive. Each of us knows what it is to lose, a person we loved, a dream we carried, a way of being that no longer fits who we've become. The wisdom of impermanence is not that we stop grieving, but that we can learn to trust the flow of change. Change is not the enemy, it is the shape of life itself. As I stood on the mound, breathing, listening, I began to feel another kind of movement, not in the wind or the grass, but in the deep places of the spirit. I repeated the same words I had spoken when I first arrived. I am standing where my ancestors stood. I am walking upon sacred ground. At first, it was a simple reminder to be present, to honor where I was. But the longer I stood there, the more those words began to shift. They no longer felt like something I was saying about my ancestors. It felt as if they were speaking through me. My breathing became theirs. My heartbeat felt like the echo of theirs, drumming beneath the soil. I had always thought of my ancestors as them, another people from another time, whose story I simply inherited. But standing there, I saw no separation. The distance between then and now disappeared. The air felt thick with their presence, as if time itself had folded to make room for all of us, to stand together on that same holy ground. I thought of the day they were forced to leave that place, the hurried footsteps, the smoke rising from burned villages, the sacred fire extinguished. Generations passed. The trail grew cold, but that story of loss lived on, carried quietly in names and stories, in the persistence of our people. And now, here I was, centuries later, standing where they once stood. I realized I wasn't just remembering them, I was continuing them. Their blood still flowed in my veins. Their breath still echoed in my lungs. Their prayers were still rising through my life. I had not come to visit their world. I was carrying it forward. I may have gotten on a bus just the day before, but this journey was hundreds of years in the making. Every mile we traveled, every step I took up the mound felt like a return long overdue. And when I finally reached the top and looked out over the land, it struck me. Through me, my ancestors had come home. In Mahayana Buddhism, there's a teaching often called interdependent co-arising, or dependent origination. It teaches that all things exist together in relationship. Nothing arises on its own. Every life, every moment, every breath depends on countless causes and conditions. The flower blooms because of the soil, the sun, the rain, the unseen roots beneath it. To understand interdependent co-arising is to understand that we are woven into everything else, that we are because others are. And some Mahayana teachers describe this interdependence with a word that often gets misunderstood, emptiness. Not emptiness as in nothingness, but emptiness as in no hard edges, no sharp line where one life ends and another begins. Everything is woven through everything else. Every identity is a braid of relationships. We exist not as isolated selves, but as living intersections of countless lives that made our own lives possible. Standing on that mound, feeling my ancestors' breath through my breath, I understood that truth, not as philosophy, but as experience. The boundary between their lives and mine had never been as solid as I believed. I was not standing after them. I was standing with them. And standing on that mound, I realized that this was not just a Buddhist truth. It was my people's truth too. My ancestors didn't survive because they were alone. They lived because another people, the Kusso, made space for them. Their survival was interdependence made flesh. Our story is a story of co-arising, of two peoples whose lives intertwined until they became one. And the same is true for us here today. None of us stands alone. We are who we are because others have carried us, taught us, forgiven us, challenged us. Every joy we've known, every strength we've claimed, every bit of wisdom we've gathered, someone, somewhere, helped to make that possible. That's what our Unitarian Universalist principle of interdependence calls us to remember, that life is not just a solitary journey. It's a web, not a ladder. Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every moment of compassion ripples outward, shaping the lives around us. We rise and fall together. When we listen to the hills or to the quiet voice within our own hearts, we realize that we are not separate stories. We are chapters in a shared one. My ancestors' journey lives in me, just as mine will live in others. The mounds, too, are part of that story. Not monuments to what was, but living witnesses to what continues. Most of us don't have a sacred mound to visit, but we all have places that whisper, if we slow down enough to hear them. Maybe it's a quiet stretch of beach, a worn pew in a sanctuary, a favorite chair by the window. Maybe it's a place inside you, an ache, a longing, a hope that has been waiting for you to stop long enough to listen. The sacred isn't limited to geography. It lives wherever awareness meets wonder. To listen to the hills is to practice that mindfulness. It's to listen not only with our ears, but also with our hearts. To hear what this moment in our lives is trying to teach us rather than clinging to what used to be. So I invite you to pause and ask, what in your life is changing right now? What is being lost? And what might be arising in its place? What is slowly sinking back into the earth, making room for something new to grow? Change rarely asks our permission. It comes as time, as aging, as children leaving home, as new loves and old wounds, as seasons that refuse to stay the same. But when we listen, really listen, we begin to hear what the change is saying. We hear that endings and beginnings are not opposites, but partners, two halves of the same sacred rhythm. Listening to the hills is a way of practicing trust in that rhythm. It's a spiritual practice of paying attention to grief without being consumed by it, to beauty without trying to trap it, to transition without losing our footing. It's how we learn to meet life as it is, not as we wish it were. Every hill, every river, every breath carries that lesson. Nothing stays still, and nothing is wasted. Life is always remaking itself. When we listen to the hills or to the quiet hills within our own hearts, we are reminded that the divine help we seek has never really been somewhere else. It's been rising up all along in the landscape of our very lives. Standing on that hill, I realized I wasn't standing on history. I was standing in the middle of a story still being told. The wind carried the same songs my ancestors once heard. The sunlight fell on my face as it had fallen on theirs. And in that moment, I understood that the past is not behind us, it's within us, moving and breathing and finding new ways to speak. The circle continues. It continues in the stories we tell and in the lives we lead. It continues every time we reach across difference, every time we honor the land beneath our feet, every time we choose compassion over fear. So may we give thanks for the ancestors who dreamed us into being, for the hills and rivers that have held our stories longer than any book could, for this fragile, impermanent, and yet utterly miraculous web of life that still holds us. May we walk gently on this earth, with ears attuned to its whisper, with hearts open to its lesson, and with gratitude for the breath that moves through all things. And as we go forth, may we learn to listen, not only to the hills, but to the living world that keeps calling us home. Amen, and may it be so. May we continue to reflect on the message as I attempt to sing with Mortimer's help, I Am Willing by Holly Mead. Meditative breath. I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. There is hurting in my family, and there is sorrow in my town. There is panic all across the nation, and there is wailing the whole world round. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. May the children see more clearly, and may the elders be more wise. May the winds of change caress us, even though they burn our eyes. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. Give me a mind, to hold my confusion, and give me a desert to hold my feet. Give me a sunset to hold my wonder, and give me an ocean to hold my tears. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the Would anyone like to share a special joy or concern? I invite you to do so now. You may light a candle or drop a stone to represent your joy or concern.
Okay, so I'm Adrian, and it's finals week at 27. Which, for those of us that have worked in education, we know that this is both a joy because something's coming to an end, and a concern because there's a lot for my students, and then there's a lot for me because I have a grade on that. So I would just ask that you hold all of the people, students and faculty who are dealing with this end of semester right now.
It is also finals week at Star King School for Ministry. And I'll say thank you without knowing it. You all just helped me because that was my Buddhism midterm, or final. So that recording will be my final grade. So thank you for that. I also wanted to, I know this is my first service that I've been back since Connie's passing. And even though I didn't know her that long, she really had a special place in my heart. And one of the last conversations we had was she asked why I wasn't wearing my yellow shoes. And so the next month I made a point to wear my yellow shoes, and that was the last time that I saw her. So today I wore my yellow shoes just for you, Connie, so I hope you're able to.
I'm Sherry, and I want to share two joys this morning. I want to share the joy of, I'm embarrassing people today. It's not a friend, I promise. But I'm thrilled to have Walden back with us, our birthright Unitarian Universalist. Somewhere in the world in college, but it's great to have you back with us. Always good to see you. And then I want to light two more candles. Because Teresa's not here. But she did our Advent candle and reminded us the 4 Sundays of Advent. Last Sunday represented hope. We're invited to hope. The second Sunday of Advent, we are invited to open to peace and preparation for peace and determination and trying again. So may we prepare for peace and welcome.
Thanks, Clint and Mortimer, for that lovely song. And where do we find that? Where do we find that hope or divine grace? It says in the landscape of our very lives, and sometimes even in a phone call. I had left a message for someone saying that I would like to hear from him if he was really home. And I was about to get out the door this morning for my usual last-minute drive here. I need about a half an hour to get here. When I got a phone call from a gentleman who, although his first language was Spanish, as now he speaks perfect English with, you have to listen to find an accent after 20 years in the United States. And so, Martha, he is home, although there is still a process. And so I bring words of thanks for Adrian, Martha, and others with the Statesboro Migrant Support Group, both from that family and from those of us who are happy to feel like we're doing something, we're trying. Thank you.
name is June. Work-wise, this is my busiest time of year. It's not what crisis is gonna happen, it's how many and what we're gonna do about them. But in the middle of that, there's been joy. I made it 63 years on this earth, as of last Sunday. And I had the opportunity on Thursday night to leave work and go hear the Statesboro Chamber Orchestra. If you get a chance, that was really, really amazing. I enjoyed it. It made a great start to my season by hearing portions of Handel's Messiah. As Sherry alluded to, my son came home. So in the middle of work, it's easy to forget that there are things to be thankful for, but I do have a few things.
I'm gonna light one of joy and one of concern. If you have any spare good thoughts or prayers, my best friend's mother, who has been like family to me since I was a little kid, is going through some health problems and is having a few outpatient surgeries and stuff, so we're hoping it's going to be minor, but you know, if you have any good feelings or prayers to send along, I would personally appreciate that. And speaking of my best friend, he is in town. Some of you met him when he came, when my dad passed to help me with things, and he shockingly fulfilled one of my lifelong desires, which was that every birthday and stuff I had always wanted a like specialty cake from a bakery, you know, like one that was like decorated specifically and stuff, not from like, you know, Publix or Food Line or something, but like a real decorated, you know, specialty cake from a proper bakery and stuff. And never in my life have I gotten one. And even though my birthday was in August, he showed up at my house last night and had gone to Savannah and brought me a really beautiful cake just for no reason, because he knew I'd been having a rough time and that it had been a lifelong dream. And sometimes good friends and small gestures really make me feel better. So, candle of joy for that. It was unexpected and amazing, and I have a lot of cake if anybody wants it. Eat cake with it.
Hi, I'm Logan. Haven't been here for the past couple of weeks. I'll say the week before last was pretty awful. But putting all that to the side, we can see we had a really great time in Jekyll Island last week, and that made it so much better. And just one of the big highlights from that, we just got to like walk about 10 yards away from a dolphin for about a whole mile down the beach. And it was just magic, and just the service today kind of reminds you of some of those things in nature that you just gotta like keep within yourself a little bit and keep it with you when things are tough.
Please join me in a spirit of prayer or reflection, the joys and concerns of our community, followed by singing Spirit of Life. Spirit of love, we gather in the fullness of our lives, our laughter and our tears, our hopes and our heartaches, and lay them gently in the care of this community and and the mystery that holds us all. May our joys remind us that life is a gift, and may our sorrows remind us that we do not walk alone. In the light of celebration, may we be grateful. In the shadow of hardship, may we be held. Let love move among us, binding us together in healing, in courage, and in grace. Amen. Our chalice with these words. We extinguish this flame, but not to light truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Are there any announcements? I will be available for afterthoughts today.
I'll go first. Okay. So, as you know, we will do our unrehearsed Christmas play, Christmas Nativity pageant, on the last Sunday before Christmas. Tomorrow, Brother Simone will be with us to lead that and has requested that we contribute props. So if you have angel wings, if you want to go by Burger King and get some cardboard crowns, if you got something that looks like a gift from the Magi, please bring it and load it. There's a box under the chalkboard in the back corner. There's also an online sign-up if you want to let folks know what you intend to bring. But go to the closet and bring a scarf or bring a shawl or something that could be used for that, please.
Sherry, literally send me a list. I have almost everything.
On the newsletter where it announces that, there's a link and it takes you to like Silent Genius where it says we need 3 robes, we need, a manger, we need a baby Jesus. So, yeah.
The stuff in my house has been on stage more than I have. So, if you've ever been to the Averett Center, you've seen my stuff in my house more than you've seen me.
The December board meeting will be early. It's going to be this Thursday, not a Monday, but a Thursday, 7 p.m. Via our Zoom page, which is available under Contact Us on UUstatesboro.org. And this is kind of a transitional meeting with the new boards. Logan, if you join us. Mary Ellen, I think, said she won't be able to, but she was already working with Martha on some vice president for membership related things, so we're in transition. If anyone has anything for the agenda, please send it my way. 7 p.m. Thursday.
I wanted to let folks know that the migrant support group will be meeting this afternoon at 6 o'clock at Trinity Episcopal, and everyone is welcome. If you want to come, find out what we're doing, find out how you might be able to be helpful. I know one of the things that would be helpful is if anyone is willing to donate money to support buying Christmas gifts for some of the children that we are supporting now. That donation would be very, very helpful. Anything specific about that one? Okay, yeah, but we could really use that help right now. But please come if you can.
Oh, and just so everybody knows, the typical SCA medieval meeting that would usually meet here this afternoon has been canceled for this afternoon for various reasons, but we do have other stuff this month, so if anybody is interested and wants to know anything about it, come talk to me.
I'm so sorry. There's so many announcements today. It is December, yeah. Just a reminder for everyone / and also our welcoming congregation members. We have a welcoming congregation meeting next week after the service.
After the service, yeah. Just whenever afterthoughts are done, we will be meeting in the library.
Mm-hmm. And if you haven't joined us before, but you'd like to, you're all welcome to help us out.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of that. I had totally forgotten.
And Mo, did you want to announce about the chili social coming up?
Oh, yeah.
On that committee?
Yeah, so we are doing a solstice celebration this year on December 20th. Did we decide the time was 5 to 7?
Yes.
Yes, it is from 5 to 7 here. It's a chili potluck dinner thing. There will be lights, and I think we have a hayride people. Weather permitting, we'll have a hayride, so bring your friends, bring your family, bring cool people, and we'll have fun and celebrate together.
Can't you go through bring chili?
Yeah,
Yes.
and I was gonna say a little more. My understanding was it's not a full potluck, but there'll be chili and
Yeah, there'll be
drinks.
chili, yeah.
And, if you had signed up to help with potlucks, either cleaning up or setting up, see me after this and we'll just decide who can do what. And if you are able to make a pot of chili, we've got one person committed to make chili. Or, we'll also need drinks and maybe, tortilla chips and cheese to put on. You can let me know about that. Okay, and then the other announcement was, I went to buy more coffee this weekend, and it's not to $20 a can. I had Larry make us a little thing. I'm not saying that if you can't get a cup of coffee without paying, but if you are one of our coffee drinkers, go ahead sometimes and feed the kitty, or even just bring us a can of coffee once in a while. So that'll be in the kitchen.
Or creamer.
Yeah.
Or sugar.
All of that.
It's all adding up, folks.
If there's going to be a holiday concert today at 6 p.m. in Chippewa Square in Savannah. It's put on by the Unitarian Universalist Church of Savannah and First Baptist Church, which is, this is not an oxymoron, a very liberal Baptist church. And open and affirming Baptist church also. So those two congregations will be having a concert today at Chippewa Square in Savannah at 6 p.m. And then final announcement, next month, the first Sunday of the year, the first Sunday of January, my sermon title is "Thank You for Being a Friend," and so let's do a Golden Girls theme. So I invite you to bring a friend, and also in keeping with the theme, bring some cheesecake. That would be great. It's January 4th. Benediction today is number 347. Gather the Spirit. If the choir would like to come.
I was late.
Spirit, I summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in praise, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength. Gather to celebrate once again.
You are dismissed.
Thank you.